What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you from Iowa City, Iowa, where Northwestern takes on the Iowa Hawkeyes tomorrow to start Big Ten play. I hope you guys doing well. I hope the turkey is settled and the dressing and the leftovers have been good over the weekend. Man, have we had some great basketball in the month of November. That feast week this last week, I don't know that we've had a better November in college basketball, maybe in the last probably 10 or 20 years. And the reason we'll get into why I say that, but it was fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And hopefully the Big Ten Conference learns something through this experience, and that if you go out and challenge yourselves, good things happen. But we'll get more into that. Welcome to Bardo's Breakdown. Ryan, hit that intro. All right, guys. So as you saw, kind of the rundown. Let me. I'm gonna throw that up real quick. We're gonna talk about Big Ten flexing and muscles, talking about playing really good competition uh, in November. We're gonna talk about the some of the better newcomers that we've seen, the best games in November since, I don't know, Big Ten Player of the Week and Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Then we'll look at conference play, and then I'll take your questions. But guys, I guess, Ryan, you want to hit that video on the Big Ten flex and muscles? Guys, see that the teams are going out and they're challenging themselves. So they're playing high level competition, right? Michigan's played Xavier, played Wake Forest, basically on the road. Wisconsin has played Pitt in Arizona. And so it's not hurting Big Ten teams. And it's, to me, it's the way that it should be, is to go out and challenge yourselves. I mean, we just saw Oregon win the first ever Players Era Invitational. They got 1.5 million for their collective. And I was listening to Field of 68, their show earlier today, and I think they do a really good job of breaking down what's coming in the future. And so a lot of the MTEs, the 4 to 8 team tournaments that we've seen over Feast Week and in November, those are going to shift a little bit. And so you're not going to see as many 8-team tournaments as we've seen in the past. There's going to have to be a lot of those tournaments are going to have to make sense from an NIL standpoint. Gary Parrish of CBS Sports reported that it costs about $400,000 for each program to get their team and their traveling group out to Maui. And so in the era of NIL, when that's so important to build your program, it's tough to drop $400,000 just to get to a tournament. Now, if you're Auburn, who you all heard me say this on here, you've heard me say this on some of the telecasts I've been on national television. I said Auburn was the best team in the country. And I think they went out and proved it. They're the best in the country right now, going out and winning the Maui Invitational in the fashion that they did. They were dominant. And so, but those tournaments are going to shift a little bit. The Rady Children's Invitational that Purdue won, I think that's going to be more the normal 4-team event, or like Charleston, I believe, is going to go next year. They're going to go high major for 4 teams, maybe mid to lower major for 4 teams. They'll have 8 teams there, but there'll be 2 separate tournaments. So however it's going to shape up in the future, I think it's great. I think that it's great for college basketball. The fact that most people are talking about Danny Hurley and his behavior as opposed to what some of the games are, that's still good for the game, right? We'll talk about Hurley in a little bit, but that's still good for the game. And if you don't have these heavyweight matchups early on, you don't get that kind of response. And so I love it. I'm anxious to see what you guys say about it. And so I really think that this should be the modus operandi moving forward, in my opinion, is to have these type of heavyweight matchups early on. All right. Let's get to some of the Big Ten newcomers. One of these guys is a Big Ten freshman of the week, is Dylan Harper of Rutgers. 36.5 points over his last two games. He dropped 37 on Alabama, 36 on Notre Dame. He didn't have that good of a shooting performance in their last game against Texas A&M. A&M, one of the premier defenses in the country. I believe Dylan was 6 of 20 from the field, but he was electric in his games against Notre Dame and Alabama. 36 points. He was stellar at the line. He scored at all three levels. He showed that you can't speed him up. He's got the maturity of his older brother. Like, this guy's been here before. He was outstanding. Ace Bailey is as good as advertised. Think about this, guys. You have two freshmen in the same game. One of them scores 37 and another scores 22, and they narrowly lose to Alabama. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm looking at the Notre Dame box. Let me look at the Alabama box. But when you've got that kind of production from two freshmen, I mean, these guys are as good as advertised. And so they lose 95-90. Dylan Harper was 11 of 19 from the field, 15 of 16 from the free throw line. Ace Bailey was 9 of 18 from the field. Added 4 points. I'd like to see him rebound a little bit more at 6'10", but you can't ask. I don't know how much more you can ask of freshmen. Derek Queen has been sensational. 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists versus Villanova. His skill set, I was talking to my friend today. It's amazing that he's not, people aren't looking at him as a lottery pick with his skill set. I encourage you all, if you have not seen Maryland play this season yet, go watch Maryland, because Derek Queen is certainly one of the best players in the Big Ten, might be one of the best players in the country. He can do everything. He's ridiculous at 6'10". I mean, with back to the basket, footwork, puts it on the deck. He handles the ball like a guard. He can shoot the three. His passing is uncanny for a guy that young and that big. Tomislav Ivicic. I keep hearing Ivicic. I keep hearing Ivicic. I think I'm going to go with Ivicic. I may have been having the accents on the wrong parts of his last name, but we need to get it right, because Tomislav balled out against Arkansas. I was asking whether it was Big Z or Tomislav was going to have the advantage in the brother matchup. Tomislav hit 6 threes, was fantastic in that game, 10 rebounds, and he was a defensive stalwart. He gets credited for 3 blocks, but he changed about 8 or 9 shots. He was outstanding and stayed out of foul trouble for the most part. I like how Brad Underwood is using Tomislav to start off and Morez Johnson. It gives him a totally different look. Morez is not going to be a threat yet. I think I've seen him shoot 3-point shots. He's got the ability to do so. That will come with time. But, man, Tomislav Ivicic has been stellar. I know Kasparas, Yakashionis, and Will Riley get a lot of the shine in the pub, as they should, because they're talented as well. But Ivicic needs to get some love. And I don't know if I've said this on here. Shout out to Kirk Penny, assistant coach from Wisconsin. When I was going to practices in the pre-conference slate, in the preseason, he was the first coach that said, man, Illinois got a player. He didn't mention Will Riley. He didn't talk about Kasparas. He mentioned Tomislav Ivicic. And he was the first coach to really say, man, they got a steal with that kid. He can really play. And then John Tonje at Wisconsin, no one saw this coming. The Badgers didn't see it coming. The fact that he would score like he's done, 41 points against Arizona. He hit Pitt up for 33, and y'all, Pitt's for real. I think somebody had them preseason 7th in the ACC. They didn't know what the hell they're doing, because that Pitt team, they might have the best backcourt in the country. DeLand, Lowe, and Leggett. Oh, man, those guys. I mean, that game at Ohio State, they won on a last-second 3 in overtime. 91-9. That was one of the best games of the young college basketball season. That was an outstanding game. Ohio State threw punches at them, and Pitt took them and kept coming. So that victory that Wisconsin had over Pitt, and the fact that they've got really high quality wins now, does Wisconsin, and that loss that Ohio State suffered to Pitt at home, that's not going to hurt them one bit. That was one of the better games that we've seen in this young season, and Pitt is for real. Pitt's probably I don't know that right now I'd pick them over UNC. I like Duke as being the best team in the ACC, but the way Pitt is playing right now, and they lost Damian Dunn, another outstanding double-digit scorer. They lost him to thumb surgery. He's out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. That Pitt team is rough, y'all. They are good, really, really good. So I love the fact that we're getting to see these contributions from some of the players that maybe we didn't anticipate at the top of the season. All right. This is what I love. This speaks to the teams going out and challenging themselves. Purdue has already played Alabama, Marquette, Ole Miss, and NC State, right? Illinois has gone out and played Alabama and Arkansas. They'll have Tennessee. They'll have Missouri. They'll have Duke later on in February. Ohio State, aforementioned Pitt game. They've already played Texas and Texas A&M. Wisconsin has beaten Arizona and Pitt. And then Oregon ends up winning the first ever Players Era Invitational, and their collective is $1.5 million richer. They beat Alabama, beat Texas A&M, and beat San Diego State. So Big Ten is going out, and here's why November games are so important, ladies and gentlemen. How long have we seen the narrative of the Big Ten be poor nationally throughout the season? And what I think the Big Ten is starting to understand, the SEC definitely understands this. Their teams are going out and playing the most challenging schedules that they can play. Auburn is getting ready to play at Duke on Wednesday. Think about that for a second. I don't think Bruce Pearl has coached the team at Duke yet, right? He's at Tennessee before. I don't think they ever went to Duke. This is going to be the first time that he's taking the team into Cameron Indoor Arena. They just came off of a Maui Invitational Championship where they were stellar. Now they're getting ready to go play Duke. So my point is that some of these teams are handcuffed in their scheduling. They have to play certain teams. But I give Brad Underwood all the credit in the world in that he's saying, look, if we can play high majors the whole time, let's do it. He gets it. And I give Underwood a lot of credit because he's adjusted to the way that college basketball has adjusted. He's adjusted beautifully, right? I've been critical of him sometimes in game situations. That's changed. I can't be critical of him in terms of embracing what college basketball is right now. He went from Kofi Cockburn dominated team to now a 5-out, none inside team that can shoot the three as well as any team in the country. So Underwood, Dusty May, they've gone out and played pretty much a home game at Wake Forest. I think it was in Charlotte. It was a neutral site, but it was, heavily favored Wake Forest based on the proximity to that campus. They beat a good Xavier team. I mean, they dominated them, right? We mentioned these schools right here that have gone out and challenged themselves. Matt Painter does it every year. Purdue does it every year, right? Indiana was in a really good tournament down at Battle for Atlantis. Got smoked by Louisville. That was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing loss, not only for Indiana, but for the conference. Louisville's an upstart. Pat Kelsey has that program energized, and Chucky Hepburn came back and looked like he had some payback for Indiana because I think he had 31 and 11 assists, something like that. He dominated Indiana. And then Indiana loses to Gonzaga, and they come back and beat Providence. But a lot of these Big Ten teams are going out and challenging themselves. Nebraska played a very good St. Mary's team. I think St. Mary's is a top 25, top 30 team, right? Then they go and smoke Creighton at Creighton. Smoked them. That game wasn't close. So these Big Ten teams are getting it, right? And so let's look at the matchups for this week. This is the exciting part of the season because these are the first grouping of Big Ten matchups, right? So tomorrow we got Michigan at number 15, Wisconsin. Great matchup. On Friday, we got the rivalry, bragging rights for the state of Illinois. Illinois goes to Northwestern, right? I've got Northwestern at Iowa tomorrow, and I've got Michigan State at Minnesota on Wednesday. Northwestern, Iowa on Peacock, 6 p.m. local, Central Time. Michigan State at Minnesota, I believe, is a 7 o'clock start. I'll double check that before we get off the air. And then, oh, wait a minute. I jumped over one. Thursday, number 13 ranked Purdue goes to Penn State. Guys, Penn State might be for real. Johann Niedenhauser, big transfer from 7-footer from Northern Illinois. He's really playing well, playing very, very well. Had a double-double in their last game. Now, Penn State has not played as difficult a schedule as some of the aforementioned teams, but that's going to be a very good challenge for Purdue on the road against a very, very good and a very experienced Penn State squad. So watch out for that one. We talked about Illinois Northwestern. Nebraska at Michigan State is going to be an interesting matchup. Michigan State did well out in Maui, right? They lost to a very talented Memphis squad, but they beat North Carolina. And I believe, did they beat UConn? God, those games run together. But they won 2 out of 3 out in Maui. And Jeremy Fears, I think, it found himself in that tournament. He was very aggressive. He played extremely well. I still think he holds the ball too much. I think he handles it too much. He's got to get off of it a little bit. But outside of that, he was stellar. And I think Michigan State is starting to find their identity against a very good Nebraska team. And then Rutgers at Ohio State at noon. I've got that game for Fox FS1. The youngsters are going to be on the road for the first time in the Big Ten against a very good Ohio State team. And I believe, I don't know if the Big Ten football championship, I got to look up what day that is, but I think that that's either 11 a.m. local start. It's a very early start. I think they want to get it out of the way before the Big Ten football championship game. If that is next week, I'm not certain, but that's going to be a hell of a game, a hell of a challenge for Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey on the road against a very good defensive team in Ohio State. So really looking forward to those guys. And I think I got through that. So, y'all got some questions today. I like this. Don't forget, if you want to join the tribe, text me 312-847-2739 or go to bardostribe.com and get your free copy of Guide to the New Big Ten. It'll get you on the newsletter. You guys may want to join the newsletter because I wrote a nice post last week about me and Kevin Kugler flying blind. Literally, we had some technical difficulties, but Kevin is such a pro that you would have never known. The stuff that went wrong, everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong, and we were having a blast. We were having a blast. Green Bay at Ohio State. If you go back and look at the first half, we had all sorts of technical difficulties, but you would have never known. And I wrote a post about it. And a young protege of mine, a guy that was contributing to Bardo's breakdown page last year, he sent me a text and was like, "Wow, I'm getting ready to call a game." He said, "That's good to know. I didn't know. I need to be reminded of that." I was like, "Good." So if you want to be on the newsletter, go to bardostribe.com, get your free copy of Guide to the New Big Ten. That will sign you up for the newsletter. Or if you want to be a part of the text community, which is 335 strong now, text me to 312-847-2739, and you will be included in the tribe. All right, let's go. Let's go over here to the questions. And got my man, Kevin McDuffie. What's up, Kevin? Love college basketball. Love it. Me and you both, brother. Everybody on here, same boat. Big Ten has showed up early this year. Been years since I've seen so many teams get quality wins. Curtis, you know why? It's because some of these Big Ten teams have been handcuffed by scheduling, but now when they've got holes in schedules and they can fit teams in, they're going for they're challenging themselves. They got to figure out where they are. Tom Izzo was doing it for years, because he knew that you get quality games in the Big Ten Conference. Doesn't matter if you lose the early games. You got to figure out how you match up against the best. So he set the trend. It's not like it's been a new thing. Izzo's been doing it for decades. But now everyone else in the Big Ten seems to, whether it's scheduling, whether it's, oh, wow, okay, that does make sense. It's happening. Auburn's the best team right now, December 2nd. Auburn's the best team in the country to me, Kevin. I've been saying that when I saw them beat Houston at the Toyota Center, and the way that they out-physicaled Houston, and they had dudes that could score, I was like, shoot, that's the best team in college basketball right now. So, what's up, TM? Illinois looked pretty good against Arkansas. The sky's the limit for them this year. Okay, here's what I want you guys to consider. There's a saying in broadcasting. The broadcast was never as good as you think it was, but it's never as bad as you think it was. So in these earlier games, when you look at Illinois, consider this point. Illinois had corporate intelligence because of Orlando Antigua. He's been with Cal. He knows how Cal's going to respond when they get punched in the mouth. He knows how Cal's going to respond defensively if they can't stop an action. And so if you guys noticed, Brad Underwood has changed his sideline demeanor. He sits for 80% of the game. Against Arkansas, I think he got off the bench 3 times to talk about a particular call or something. He didn't get off the bench because he didn't have to. They knew exactly what Arkansas was trying to do. And once those shots start falling, Illinois dropped 15 threes. When you shoot the ball that well, TM, everything looks great. So Arkansas drop coverage, ball screen action. Illinois wore that out because every time KJ got downhill and he could get another defender to come to the ball, he looked opposite, spray, hit a guy right in the shooting pocket. They got all day to shoot. If you go back and look at the film, Illinois, out of their 15 made threes, 7 or 8 of them were wide open. There wasn't anybody flying at them. They were wide open because Arkansas defensively, they just hadn't figured it out. And Illinois played their tail off. Everything that they wanted to do, they got to the free throw line. They got downhill and put pressure. They were able to kick back for open threes. Ivisic hit at least 3 or 4 of his, I think he hit 6 threes. Let me make sure. But most of what they were doing, they were never pressured. Arkansas could not get into their press. Illinois did a great job of keeping Arkansas out of transition because that's where they're deadly, is in transition. Illinois did a fantastic job, but again, it helps when you hit shots, right? So just remember that they looked great, but in November and early December, the games are never as good as you think, but they're never as bad as you think. As bad as Indiana looked in the Bahamas, it'll get better. There were some things that they did that they'll improve on. It will get better. Where is Illinois? Okay, here we go. Let me make sure that I got this box score correct and how many threes that Illinois. I thought it was 15. Bear with me. 90, 77. Illinois scored 40 plus in both halves. Held Arkansas to 34 in the first half. I mean, they were 15 to 31. Ivisic was 6 of 9. I guarantee you guys, you go back and look at the film, 4 of those threes are wide open. Humrickhouse. 2 of his 3 made threes were wide open. from the right wing, wide open. Arkansas's defense, they've got a lot of work to do, and Illinois cut them up. Illinois got to the free throw line 22 times, right? Arkansas gets there 27, but that's all Arkansas was trying to do. After a while in the second half, did you guys notice Arkansas abandoned their offense? And all they did was run kind of a cross into giving Theoro or Bland the ball to let them go downhill and try to make a play because their offense wasn't working. Illinois scouted them so well. So, Tim, all that to say, Illinois looked really good because they hit 15 threes. So, again, if that's January or February and they do that, then that's a different story. But the wins are never as great as they look, and the losses are never as bad as they look. Keep that in mind. Thanks for tuning in. Big T has the best game of his life, or did they just show his brother who the better twin was? Both. He had the best game of his career, and he showed that Tomislav is better than Big Z. Both. Pretty much. Curtis said he was in Kansas City. Is there a more annoying chant than Pig Suey? It's not Big Suey. I think it's Pig Suey. Glad Illinois jumped on them early so I didn't have to hear it much at the game. I think it's, you know what, Curtis? That means that chant is effective because it gets on your nerves. That's the way you look at it. So tip your cap to Arkansas for having an annoying call, and the fact that tip your hat to the Illini so that you didn't have to hear it much, right? Let's see. Chad Alt. What's up, Chad? I'd like to see Boswell when on the floor as the head guard. KJ is not a point guard. Too many turnovers. I disagree, Chad. Kasparis is a point guard. He's a point. He's a freshman. He's going to make turnovers. This is a different speed. It's a different physicality. And what's happening to Kasparis right now, in my opinion, he's getting hit a lot. If you notice, a lot of his turnovers aren't necessarily passing. They're more of he gets ripped. He gets hit on his hand. He'll get hit on his arm. The official won't call it. He's looking around like, what the? Did you not just see that? And I know what's going on. The officials, a lot of times, aren't going to give freshmen the benefit of the doubt, especially if you're playing against upperclassmen. It's just the way that officiating is in college basketball. They'll say they call the stuff the same all the time. That's BS because referees are people also. They've got norms, they've got values, they've got certain things that get up under their nerves, and it comes out in their officiating sometimes. This is across the board. It's not just with Big Ten or anything like that. This is across the board in college basketball. Freshmen are not going to get the benefit of the call. So what KJ is learning, and I'm sure Brad and staff are showing him this, you're getting sometimes too deep on the penetration, and he gets in trouble. And what happens is when he's trying to gather and come up with the ball, he's getting ripped or hit on his hand or on his arm. He's getting bumped at the last second, and it's contact, but they're not calling it. He'll learn. He'll get better. I think he's a point guard. I think Boswell's an off guard. I think he's more of a two guard that can play the point, where KJ is a point guard that can play the two. That's why I think those guys can be effective on the court. But I appreciate your point, Chad. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for your point there. I think Pitt has a great point guard. DeLand Lowe, yes, one of the best in the country. I missed a lot of good games since I was at the Illini game and then Chiefs game the following day. DeLand Lowe, ladies and gentlemen, is a left-handed, smooth, silky guard. Oh, man. And his backcourt mate, Leggett, Ishmael Leggett, physical, tough, got wiggle. Like, he's kind of like an Eddie House. You guys remember how Eddie House used to score? But this kid is bigger. He's taller. He's stronger. And Ishmael he'll punish you when he has I love this game. Love DeLand Lowe's game. The point guard, he had 28 against Ohio State and made it look easy. Didn't force a thing, right? Those dudes they're tough. They are tough. Um, Wait a minute. I will say this until I am blue in the face. 2-on-5 is not offense. Stop nailing your feet to the floor behind the 3-point line. Chad, listen, I feel your pain. I understand where you're coming from. But let's do this. Let's let's put your pinky to your thumb, put them down to your sides, and go like this. And smile. Because the college game is starting to mimic the international and NBA game. And it's 5 out, none in, guys. I was sitting with the then Utah Jazz general manager, and I should have known this was he was giving me a harbinger of things to come. He said, man, if it was me, I'd do away with the post. I'd never run post plays. I'd go all 5 out, none in. And I looked at him like he was an alien. But he knew the direction that the game was going. This is the game. So unless you have a dominant big like a Kofi Coburn, a Zach Edey, a Trey Kaufman-Wren, a Niedenhauser at Penn State, a Derek Queen, but Derek's got perimeter skill, but he can go in the post. Unless you got guys like that, a lot of teams are looking to get their 5 men to shoot the basketball and to be able to shoot it well to space the floor out. It's all ball screen continuity, guys. That's what the game has come to. Wisconsin runs it. Illinois runs it. Michigan runs it too. They got some other actions. They run it. Purdue will run it some. Purdue still high-low action to get the ball inside. Well, sometimes they'll go 5 out, none in, and their ball screen continuity. That's what everybody's doing now. So I know what you're saying. It's not offense, but in today's game, it is, and that's just where we are. Josh Binkley and family. Josh, is this your first time on Bardo's Breakdown? If it is, welcome. I appreciate you. Great coaches play great schedules. Well, you know what, Josh? I do think that, but I also think like job security is a thing, guys. Coaches want to keep their jobs. And so there are certain coaches that don't want to play a brutal schedule because I think they feel like their team might lose confidence. But here's the thing. Teams from the Horizon League, from HBCU schools, from the lower Division I, they get their heads bashed in all non-conference schedule because they've got to fund their programs. But somehow they bring their kids back in conference play and rally them to be good, to win the conference and get an NCAA tournament bid, right? But coaches at a high power 4 level, some of them, I don't want to call out their names, but if you look at their schedules, it's kind of obvious who I'm talking about. Some of them are looking at job security. So, great coaches can do that, Josh. I agree. But I also think that coaches that have some job security, who have a proven concept, that have a history of NCAA tournament appearances and success in the tournament, they can go out and do that. So I'm not knocking the coaches that don't. I'm just saying that it's great for the conference overall. So, Russell, why do you hope that Auburn loses? Oh, I know why. I was getting ready to ask, why do you want Auburn to lose all their remaining games? I know why you do. Enough said. I know where that's going. If you want to put something else in there, Russell, feel free. It's all good. All good. That stuff runs deep, boy. Y'all know that was, oh my gosh, I don't even want to. It was 35 years ago, guys. You do know that, right? Y'all don't care. How would you improve the team's free throw percentage? Chad, that's going to be a work in progress. They're just going to have to keep running sprints, and get to the free throw line in practice. And then they got to start knocking some down in the game. And if it costs them a game, they'll improve on it. It's just they're just gonna have to keep working at improving. Guys, remember, Illinois is the second youngest team in the Big Ten in terms of prior experience at the college level. The second youngest team in the conference in terms of returning experience. So they can't be perfect, guys. It's December 2nd. We got 3.5 more months before the tournament. They got a lot of time to improve. They'll improve. Okay, Steve. What's up, Steve? We have seen Bucky win the Big Ten a couple times in the last few years. This team looks just like them. I picked them to win it again, but the Illini will give them a run. How have you been, Mr. B? I've been great, Steve. So you picked Ohio State to win the Big Ten Conference. Okay. Good choice, because, I mean, believe it or not, they're missing their 7-footer, Aaron Bradshaw. There's an investigation to a domestic incident that took place at his house, and that's all they've released. I don't know if it was with a young lady or a love interest. I don't know what it was, but he's being investigated there. And yet they beat a possible second. I'm telling you guys, Pitt is for real. They might be a second weekend team. I have that much respect for Pitt right now. Ohio State was a made 3 from winning that game in overtime without their 7-foot starting center, Aaron Bradshaw. They're undermanned right now. They don't have great depth up front, but boy, their guard play is stellar. And Micah Parrish was that dude. Between him and Bruce Thornton, kept them in the game, kept them in the lead. They played their behinds off against Pitt. So Ohio State they'll be in the mix. I don't know that I would pick them to win it, but they're definitely going to be in the mix. Thomas Dagley, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Tennessee game? Tennessee is rough. When I was talking to Brad Underwood before the I think it was either the Oakland game or SIUE game, he thought Tennessee was the best team that he'd seen. Now, these coaches can't see everybody play because they're busy getting their teams ready. But the teams that he saw, he was very high on Tennessee. They're going to be one of the better defensive teams in the country. Chaz Lanier has basically taken over for what Dalton Knecht has done. He's an outstanding shooter. I don't think he's as good overall player as Dalton Knecht is, but he's a scorer. I think he's averaging 17 or 18 points a game. Jemai Mashak is one of the best on-ball defenders in the country. Zakai Ziegler has been in college basketball for 10 years. He's one of the best defenders in college basketball. They lost Phillips, I believe. They lost an athletic big. I think he may have torn his knee, his ACL, so that will hurt Tennessee's depth up front. But Tennessee's a great team. Defensively, they may give Illinois some problems. They're going to hound the hell out of KJ. And so you saw what happened when Illinois played Ole Miss in exhibition. An older, physical team that knows how to get up under your skin. It's going to really help that it's at State Farm Center. You know what? Let me look on Ken Palm and see what he's predicted. If I was in Vegas, guys, I would probably give Tennessee a slight edge, but let's take a look. Because Tennessee is number 2 in Ken Palm, ranked number 2. They've got the number 2 defense in the country. They've got the number 11 offense in the country. And they predicted Tennessee winning 74-72 at Illinois. So that tells you that it could go either way. I just think that the older physical presence of the Vols will probably give the young Illini some trouble. But it's a great game for Illinois. That's the whole thing. It's a no-lose situation because you're playing. That's the number 2 Ken Palm ranked team in the country right now. Number 1 is Auburn. So think what Illinois has done and what they're going to do in the non-conference slate. Auburn, number 1, is going to play Purdue down in Birmingham later on this month. Tennessee is 2. Let me see who else is on here. That Alabama is 10. Illinois already played Alabama. Obviously, they're going to play Purdue. Let me see. Where is it? Nah. So you got Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Arkansas is definitely dropped. Arkansas is not even in the. Where are they? Oh, Arkansas is 43rd in Ken Palm. But Illinois has gone out and challenged themselves. So Tennessee has got, before that matchup, Tennessee will have Syracuse at home, who they should blow out. They got Miami on a neutral floor, which probably won't give them any problems because Miami is struggling. I think Miami's lost 3 in a row. So they're not going to be challenged they're not going to be severely challenged before they see Illinois in Champaign. But it's a great game for Illinois. They're testing themselves. So if I was in Vegas, I'd bet Tennessee, but Illinois could very easily win that game. Indiana Sports Connection. Thanks for tuning in. That's why Woodson is facing nobody. Facing nobody. Gonzaga's number 3 in the country. Ken Palm. Facing nobody. I think that's a stretch. I know Indiana fans are upset. And John Fanta said something that I thought was very interesting. He said that Indiana fans are probably jealous right now of Purdue and Butler fans. Think about it. Butler won their MTE. They beat a very good Mississippi State team. Thad Matta has them playing. Patrick McCaffrey, former Iowa Hawkeye, is doing his thing. Former Michigan State. It'll come to me in a minute. Big physical guard. He's playing well. So Butler's coming off an MTE win. Purdue won the Rady Children's Invitational. And Indiana had the outing that they had against Louisville. So I wouldn't necessarily say Indiana's not challenging themselves because they knew that they would get a big-time push. Indiana 53rd right now in Ken Palm. And so, yes, they lost to Gonzaga, lost to Louisville, got smashed by Louisville. That was a little bit embarrassing, but came back and had a 16-point victory over Providence. All right? So Indiana has not gone out and played the heavyweights, but playing Gonzaga, that's pretty good. All right? Thanks for tuning in, Indiana Sports Connection. Appreciate you. Josh, I got it. I have to agree with you. Underwood is adapted to change as much as any coach I've witnessed, and I love it. I have to agree with you. You know, if I were to put my former Illini players hat on, I don't see how you could be more pleased with the way the program has progressed. And the fact that he's been able to change with the changes in college basketball. NIL's become a thing in Illinois out of the box. This is part of Josh Whitman's work as well. But Illinois basketball out of the box, opposing Big Ten coaches were telling me how impressive Illinois was getting it done on the NIL front. That's when it first started. Like I said, it's gone from a pressing team. You remember when Underwood was pressing and trying to deny? He came back to the drawing board and they got better talent. Went out and got Ayo Dosunmu and then Kofi Coburn, and they were more of a power team. and then they change up and they become, you know, a perimeter-oriented team with a jack of all trades in Coleman Hawkins that was one of the most unique and talented multi-skilled bigs that the game has seen in a little bit. And they were able to make it work to the tune of an Elite Eight. So, Josh, I agree with you. Yeah, they got beaten badly. I wouldn't say they look lost. I would say that they've got work to do. I would say that Indiana has, I'm going to say this, Indiana has the best NIL in the Big Ten. They paid a lot of money for that roster. There's a different dynamic now in college basketball with NIL payments. And so when you understand that, and you see guys that didn't have the effort, they lacked effort, there was poor effort against Louisville. To me, there's something creeping in the locker room that needs to get snuffed out. I don't know what it is, but when you see teams that they've shown that they can compete, maybe not shoot well, right? Maybe the too big lineup isn't working quite as well as it could, because Umar Ballo is not what I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be more dominant. I thought he'd be in better shape. He's not in great shape yet. I thought he'd be a better rebounder. He has not shown that yet. I think it takes time for he and Malik Renew to kind of figure out how they're going to coexist. But the effort was not there against Louisville. You give up 54 points in the first half to Gonzaga. Gonzaga's a great team, but you can't compete when you give up that many points in the first half. You just can't. So this might be the best thing that's going to happen to Indiana, is they get smacked, they get embarrassed, and they have to come back and get to work. So I think you're going to see an improved Indiana team, especially now that, let's see who they've got coming up. They got Sam Houston State, which I don't think is going to do them any good. They got Miami of Ohio, who is a little bit better than they were last year, but not great. And then they'll host Minnesota next Monday, a week from today. And then they've got to go to Nebraska. So it steps up for them like it does everyone else. But here's the thing. Indiana's going to have plenty of practice time because they only have 6 games in the month of December. So their games are really spaced out quite a bit. Like tomorrow, Sam Houston State, Friday, Miami of Ohio, both in Bloomington, Monday in Bloomington, Minnesota, Friday at Nebraska. The following Saturday that I'll be on the call, they got Chattanooga at home. Then 8 days later, they got Winthrop at home, and then they open up the Big Ten slate. So they only have 6 games in the month of December, and they'll, believe me, Woodson's going to make them work. They'll get better. Well, Chad, did Kerry Booth need to play more than 1 minute last game? Was it necessary that he needed to play? I mean, let's look at it. Tomislav he fouled out. He had 5 fouls. Morez Johnson had 3 fouls. So unless Morez Johnson gets in foul trouble, I don't know that Kerry Booth would have really helped out a lot. And if you notice, Kerry Booth is going to have to really commit to what Adam Fletcher is putting down. He's going to really have to work on his body, guys. Now, he can do this. He can jump straight up and down. He's a good catch and release three-point shooter. But laterally, he does not move well. He doesn't have a strong base yet. He's got to really get his base stronger. Because whenever I've seen him in games defensively, and he's got to push or bang against somebody in the post, it's not a good look. So I I think that he's going to need time to improve, but he'll get there. And it may not be this season, guys. He's still young, still very, very young. Oh, Curtis Dietz. Okay, this is going to transition to me into Danny Hurley of UConn. If you were a coach, would you prefer a tournament like Maui? Would you prefer playing in some neutral sites or or shootouts where you know who your opponent is? I would like to play in a 4-team MTE. So Danny Hurley came out and said, to me, the timing sucks. He says as long as he's coach at UConn, he's never playing in an MTE like that with 3 games in a row. He didn't quite go into explanation why he wouldn't. But he basically said, hey, I'm not doing that. I think it's sour grapes after them losing 3 in a row in Maui. I don't think it needed to be said. He could have just kept that to himself. So if I had to play in the MTE, I'd do like Purdue did with the Rady Children's Invitational. Get 2 games in. If you get invited into the Players Air Invitational, you got to play in that because it's too much money on the line. And again, and the teams were fantastic. The field was fantastic. So you need to play in a game like a tournament like that. Here's a problem that's come up with Maui. Teams are worn down. When you got to go all the way to Hawaii and you play 3 games in 3 days, think about the East Coast to Honolulu. That is probably a 6-hour time difference. And you're out there you want to get out there a day or 2 before the tournament starts. So you're there 2 days before playing starts. Then you play a tournament. And you're not going to leave. You might stay a day or you might leave right after, the next day. You're looking at 5 or 6 days on a time zone that's 6 hours different from your own. That takes a little bit of time to get used to. You're worn out when you get back. So that tournament, it has a lot of prestige. It does great for the local community. I hope they keep it, but it's tough on teams. It really, really is. It's tough on teams. And he don't want to play in a tournament that's an MTE like that. I don't think it was the right timing for him to say that. I think he acted a damn fool out in Maui. In the way that he handled it. He went in the press conference and still had stuff to say. I didn't think he handled that very well. But he gets leeway because he's 2-time defending national champion. So if anybody's going to get some leeway, it would be him. I'm going to put a little cough drop in because I feel my throat is a little bit dry. Okay. No saving Indiana. Mike Woodson is done. All right. So Indiana Sports Connection. Let me pose a question to you. Is college basketball similar to college football? In that if you lose early games, you're just out of the playoff hunt? Is that how college basketball is? Is any team done right now with 3.5 months left in the season? Right? I can understand your frustration. I can understand the fact that Bryson Tucker isn't playing maybe as many minutes as people think. I think that's going to change moving forward. I think they need to get help for Kanan Carlisle because mentally, I think something wrong mentally. For a young man that scored 31 and 28 last year in Pac-12 play against, I think he had 31 against Washington State, and then he had 28 against Arizona, something crazy. Like he can play, but you're not seeing it. And so there's some adjustments being made, but you can't count out anybody right now. It's too early. And so I don't want to save your comment, Indiana Sports Connection, because if I do and they get to the tournament, I'm gonna remind you of this. And so if Indiana gets to the tournament, is Mike Woodson done? No, of course not. Can Indiana get to the tournament? Of course they can. Of course they can. Bardo gets in better shape. Miles Rice plays with a little bit more consistency. Kenny Carlisle, finds himself, finds a level of confidence. I thought Mackenzie and Baco played well in their game against Providence. They can come together. Now, do I see them winning the Big Ten Conference? No, I don't see that. But do I see them being a NCAA tournament team? I can see that. I can see several paths to that. So I want our viewers to just be mindful that nobody's done in November. Nobody's done at the beginning of December. You all have seen Michigan State teams have 5 or 6 losses going into Big Ten play, and somehow they end up in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Indiana, Mike Woodson's not done. Trust me. I get the frustration, but they're not done. Northwestern has looked good early, and I'm an Illini fan, so that worries me. Well, you should be worried because anytime Illinois and Northwestern hook up, especially up in Evanston, it's always going to be a competitive game. Northwestern's talented. They've got Martinelli is averaging 22 points, and Brooks Barnhides is averaging 20 points. They're the only team in the Big Ten with 2 players averaging 20 points or more. And the last time that's happened, now it's early. Do I expect those two to average that much throughout the season? Probably not. But the last team that had 2 players average 20 points or more was Gary Grant and Glenn Rice on Michigan, my freshman year. Very rare. But Northwestern, I'm concerned about their depth or lack thereof, and the fact that they have to depend on maybe 7 guys, sometimes 8. They can get away with 8. They can dip into 9, but they really play 7 guys. So Illinois' depth, Illinois' ability to shoot the way that they shoot can kind of space Northwestern out, in my opinion. And they can find success. Can Northwestern win that game? Of course they can. Because Northwestern, I think statistically might be the best team in the Big Ten right now, statistically. Let me check the numbers real quick. Thank you for putting up with my lodgings here. All right. So defensively, Northwestern is top 30 team according to Ken Palm, 33rd. So just outside the top 30. And, they've got dudes, man. And they're going to be at home. So it's going to be a great matchup. It always is. Great matchup. Philip, you've been waiting to say that, huh? Cutting the cheese, man. That's old school right there. That's pretty good. Let's see. Let me get to. This is just my opinion. We should be at least number 16. Memphis, Houston, Pitt shouldn't jump us. With that being said, super proud of the effort versus Arkansas. No, they played well, man. They played well. Kevin McDuffie. Penn State, not that good. They lost to the only competition they've seen in Clemson. Okay. Kevin, I'm telling you now, Penn State's pretty good. Clemson is number 25 in Ken Palm. They're 7-1. They have a top 25 defense and they're 36th in the country offense. They're a really good team. right? Defensively, they get after you. They don't force a lot of turnovers, and they're top 23-point shooting team in the country. So this is a good team, right? Very good rim protectors as well. So Clemson is a lot better than you think. Penn State's a good team. Philip, that's why I highlighted Purdue at Penn State. I think Braden Smith, I don't think his usage is too high. He's a dog. He's a competitor. I think he'll be fine. But what Ace Baldwin did do at Big Ten Media Day was call out Braden Smith. He called him out, basically saying that before the season, he circled the game when Purdue comes to Penn State because he was looking forward to having this opportunity to go at Braden Smith. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. One of the better guard matchups you're going to see all season in Big Ten. Yes, fly, Illini, fly. The Ducks are for real. Y'all heard me talking about Oregon in the before we started talking in the season. I kept talking about Oregon, and I was talking about Shellstad, but the kid I should have been talking about, Bomba's old. He's going to get his. But the kid that's really impressed me is, I want to say his name right, Keyshawn Barthélemy is a baller. He comes off the bench, but he can score. He can get a shot anytime he wants. He's shifty, he's twitchy, he's quick, he's athletic. He knows how to score. He gets downhill. He sets up his teammates. He and Jackson Shellstad and TJ Bamba, those guys are tough. But the dude on Oregon that nobody talks about is Nate Biddle. He was hurt last year, 7-footer. He's a problem, y'all. He can play. I think he got in a little foul trouble against Alabama. He made some plays. He can face up. He can shoot. Nate Biddle is that dude. I don't know why nobody talked about him in the pre-conference slate, because they probably didn't see him play last year due to him being hurt. Nate Biddle's a baller. So this Oregon team is tough. Brandon Angel, transferred from Stanford, is a really solid player. Big body cat, 6'9", 230. Wisconsin fans remember that they played them last year. No, that was 2 years ago, actually. Brandon Angel is he knows the wars. Raheem Moss is good. Supreme Cook if he really starts to come into his own. Kwame Evans is really good. Like, I think he wasn't Kwame Evans a McDonald's All-American? He's a sophomore now. Dude, Oregon is tough. They are tough. That's going to be a good game. Okay, Thomas. Purdue is now number 8. Wisconsin is now number 11, and Illinois number 19. Thanks for that update. Oh, wow. Okay. Curtis D says there were 3 in my group. Not sure how many tribe members were out there, but a great win, no doubt. Thank you, Kevin. Tell them. Dory, I was sometimes when I have, I used to have 2 screens in my house. I don't have that anymore. I've got 1 screen, but then I've got a computer screen. And so a lot of times I won't have the sound turned up. So I didn't hear a lot of the telecast. So I wouldn't have been able to hear the chants. But as good as Illinois played, I knew it was coming. Philip, I heard it was 1 a.m. and they're college kids, right? What night was he gambling? Was it before the Louisville game? Was it before the Gonzaga game, or was it before Providence game? Because if it was before the Providence game, it doesn't matter. They won by double digits, right? So they're college kids. We used to be up drinking till 3 in the morning and doing other things, and then turn around for a noon game and whoop Temple. They can smell the bumpy face and OD coming out our pores. That's what college students do. That's what is it right? Not necessarily. No, it's not a good look either. But that's what college kids do. I heard 1 a.m. I didn't hear 3 a.m. But it is what it's not a good look. I'm not excusing the behavior. If you go out and win, it doesn't matter. Now, if you go out and lose, now you set yourself up for scrutiny. So was it right? No. But that's what college kids do. Curtis, exactly right. Bunch of dogs, and they're way better offensively. They got guys. Telford, I love that freshman point guard from Jersey, lefty. Love him. What's the kid's name? He's got the hyphenated last name. Hold on, I'll find it. I want to give Auburn justice because I absolutely love their team and love what they've done here early on. And then you know what? They very well may go and lose at Duke. Doesn't matter. They're challenging themselves. Let me pull up their roster because their roster's outstanding. Obviously, Janai Broome looks like the best player in the country. Chad Baker Mazzara he's a tough shot maker at 6'7". You got Dylan Caldwell, who is a guy that every championship team needs. A guy that does not need to score. He's 6'11", 255, athletic, physical, loves contact. Chaney Johnson is playing better. Denver Jones is playing better. Miles Kelly started his career at Georgia Tech. He is a three-point shooting specialist. So they got floor spacers. JP Pegues hasn't even found himself yet. Transfer from Furman. He's really good. Hasn't found himself yet. Tahad Pettiford is that dude, that freshman from New Jersey. Can go get it. I mean, they're loaded. They're deep. They're physical. They bought into their roles. They're a really, really good team. Okay, Robert has concerns about Humrick House starting at 4. I think he's a defensive liability that could be problematic in conference and tourney. What's your take? Robert, you've been watching the game a little bit. The hype that Ben Humrick House received and what we're seeing are two different levels. I heard that he could possibly be a playmaker. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen him confidently put it on the floor at all. I haven't seen it. It might come later on, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him get on the glass at all. I thought at 6'9", he could provide some support on the glass. I haven't seen it. Not that it won't come. Not that he can't put it on the deck. It may come, but I have some concerns there as well, Robert. I don't think you're. I think you're spot on with that. And when you make shots like he's been able to do, it covers up a lot of things. So, I mean, he's averaging double digits. He's getting 3.5 rebounds a game. He's outside of Will Riley, he's second best percentage three-point shooter on the team, which they brought him in to do. He's 43%. So he's doing what they're asking him to do, but can he D up? I haven't seen it. It remains to be seen. But good take there. Fly Line Fly has the top 4 teams: Illinois, Wisconsin, Purdue, and Oregon. How would you rank those 4 right now? Ooh, how would I rank those right now? Mm, I go Purdue. I say Purdue, Illinois, Oregon tied, and Wisconsin right behind them. I'd actually go Purdue and then Illinois, Wisconsin, Oregon, all three tied for second. That's how closely bunched in my mind they are, because Wisconsin beat an Arizona team that is not as good as advertised. It was a great win for them at the time because they was a top 10 opponent. Um, but they have some issues. But that Pitt win is going to be that's going to go a long way. Oregon is obvious, winning the Player Era Invitational, how good they are. Great quality wins there. Purdue, obviously, having beaten Alabama. They lost at Marquette, but that's a great loss at Marquette. Um, Illinois, obviously, with two really good challenges there. So that's how I'd rank them right now. Chad Alt, is there a team on this schedule that Illinois would be better off playing a zone or 1-3-1? Maybe Oregon, because I see Illinois. I see everybody's going to have a problem containing their dribble penetration. You might want to try to have Oregon beat you over the top. Maybe Duke, but Duke is going to be so good by the time Illinois sees them in February. I don't really know, but Illinois is going to be really good as well. That's a good question, Chad. I don't know that I can answer that right now. I don't really look at the net fly line I fly. I know it's used, but I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the net. Oh yeah, Dory, you're right. Bruce Thornton is balling. Connor Seaton is pretty much filled in seamlessly where uh what's that boy's name? Young man's name. Damn, I just had it on top of my head. Yeah, he's doing very, very well. But Fred gives you Tominaga. He looks like Keisei Tominaga. Hoiberg gives you a lot of confidence, and you're seeing it. Brandon, I'd say Auburn right now. Auburn has more depth. I think they can score the ball more efficiently. I think they're a better defensive team than Kansas. Although that Kansas Duke game, wow, what a game. What a freaking game. Kevin McDuffie, woo, pick suey. There you go. What's up, James? Besides Boswell, what happened to the line defense against Bama? Different story versus Arkansas. Well, Arkansas doesn't shoot the three, James. Alabama is one of the best shooting three teams in the country. That's what they predicate a lot of their offense on. Let me make my point here. Also, in that Alabama game, it was apple turnover in the first half. Illinois, they couldn't take care of the basketball. So, in losing to Alabama, which was their first really tough road game, Alabama was 11 for 34 from three, so 11 threes. Illinois had 10 of their own. They were 10 of 30. Illinois had 13 turnovers, but I think about 8 or 9 of them were in the first half. Similar to the Ole Miss exhibition game. They got down early and they just couldn't get over the hump, but they fought back. They played well in the second half, I thought. There are not many fly line I fly. Boswell's an excellent on-ball defender. Ace Baldwin Jr. is probably the best at Penn State. When Bruce Thornton wants to sit down on you, he can sit down on you as well. There's a few, but he's there. He's right there. Do you think KJ was trying to draw fouls? Or do you think he was getting downhill to try to score? He just was losing the ball. He didn't turn it over in the second half because he didn't get that deep on penetration unless he could get all the way to the rim. That was the difference. And I think at halftime they showed him some of the situations where he was getting too deep. Oh, you know what, Brandon? That's a hell of a compliment. Thank you very much. I love Jimmy Dykes. He's one of my favorite. I think he's one of the most knowledgeable. He's always been good to me. He's got his own style. He's got his own Southern twang. He's got his own vernacular. So that's a hell of a compliment. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let's see. Alabama's good, but I refuse to believe they're as good as we made them looking with our poor defense. 100 points was way too extreme. Happy they figured it out versus Arkansas. Arkansas is a Final Four team, guys. That's a team that played UConn last year in the Final Four, and have Mark Sears, who's not playing like it. They've got one of the best. He's first team All-American. Grant Nelson is a baller. Philon, the freshman guard, he's a pro. Arkansas is good. And when Cliff Amore really settles into that defensive rim runner, they're going to be tough, man. Alabama's good, really good. And the SEC right now is the best conference in the country, followed by the Big 12, followed closely behind is Big 10. So these Big 10 schools that are playing all these SEC schools, they're getting ready. And Alabama's picked to win the SEC, the best conference in the country. So Alabama is that good. Let's see, people. Paul, you know what, Paul? You make a good point. His current players didn't have anything to do with Pearl's past. I think the Illini fans know why that statement was made. Paul, I would like for Illini fans to move on, but I get crushed whenever I dip my toe into that, so I leave it alone. We'll see. But anybody that calls themselves a basketball fan that loves basketball, you can't look at that Auburn team and not think, like, if they're not the best team in the country, they're right there. See what I mean? And Kevin McDuffie's a tribe member. That's just how deep it runs. Bucky plus Wisconsin. Okay. Let's see. Imbrod says, saw Chucky playing for Louisville. Did great. Played well. Tanjay can run us over all by himself if we can't guard him. John Tanjay's putting up big numbers, guys. I don't anticipate those numbers being the same in Big Ten play. I don't. He's good. He's been great to start the season. He's an excellent free throw shooter. He gets downhill. He can shoot the three. He's old. He knows how to play. I don't see him in those numbers in the Big Ten. I don't. Oh, wow. Funny you mentioned this, Russell. Funny you talk about Andre Curbelo down in Southern Mississippi. He was just suspended indefinitely today. I feel so bad for that young man. Somebody needs to give him a big, big hug. Tennessee and Wisconsin, both those teams within a week's time. Thoughts on those games? Can we win at least one of them? Of course. Of course. Since Brad Underwood's come to Illinois, Illinois beaten. They've beaten Wisconsin. Is it 10 of the last 11 or 10 of the last 12 times? Under Underwood, Illinois has done very well against Wisconsin. Is it 10 of the last 11? I think it's in that ballpark. They dominated the Badgers. So I like Illinois' chances there. Against Tennessee, it's toss-up. I don't expect them to go 0-2, but they very well could if they're not ready to play and they don't play well. They very well could be 0-2. Derek, I think you're right. I love Dragios Lawhorn. I love him. And I like what he brings off the bench. He can change the game up. He can change the pace up a little bit. He can get after guys on ball defensively. I'm with you. I like what he said. What's up, Joe? All his statements are true. Danny Hurley said he will never not only go back to the Maui Classic, he said he'll never play in an MTE like that again. That means he'll never play in a tournament where they're going to play 3 games in a row. Xavier almost lost to South Carolina State at home last night. Wisconsin almost lost to University of Texas Rio Grande Valley at home after beating Arkansas. College basketball is on fire. You're right. Good to see you, Joe. Thanks for tuning in, man. Let's see. How did Pitt win that game versus Ohio State? Was it like Ohio fouled at 3, missed a 1-and-1, and gave them a 3, something like that? No. Ohio State was up 2 points as overtime is ending. Pitt ran a fantastic play. So they had to go full court, and they had probably 8 seconds, maybe, something like that. I think they hit 2 free throws to go up 2. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, I sure hope they foul. I sure hope they foul. And they didn't. And so Pitt came full court. Jalan Lowe, the point guard, had already had 28 points. He's coming up the floor, and they trail Zach Austin forward. They trail him. So Lowe comes like this. He drags some defenders with him. He turns, tosses back to Zach Austin, who stepped in beautifully for a 3. Was it Parrish that closed out on him? Somebody was in his grill. It wasn't just a wide open look. He had a defender flying at him. It was a great play written up by Jeff Capel. The land low, sucks the D, pitches it back. Zach Austin steps up with confidence, bangs a 3. One of the best games I've seen all season. So it wasn't like Ohio State lost that game. I was surprised they didn't foul up 2, but they chose to defend. And the kid hit a 3 at the buzzer. I mean, it topped off a tremendous game. Tremendous game. So, interim Indiana head coach Luke Goody has some work to do in Bloomington. That's funny. Philip is referring to a clip where Luke was getting after guys during the Louisville loss. He was screaming at a couple of his teammates, which you like to see because he cares. It means something to him. The basketball team didn't choke. Now the football team, that's a little bit different. You're at home. You're playing against a Michigan team that no quarterback and really got shut down. I thought Ohio State was better offensively than that. Michigan just shut them down. But the basketball team didn't choke at all. They got beat by a very good team. Let me get to somebody else. Maui's an excellent tourney, tremendous college basketball kickoff. No doubt. I agree. Kevin McDuffie loves NIL, making it more competitive across the board. Philip, let me address Ed Cooley's comments. For those that you probably know, Ed Cooley said he called Illinois a bullshit program. I think that was a shot at Brad Underwood and his staff. I don't think he was talking about the program, but I didn't like it. I thought it was uncalled for. It hurt me as a former Illini player, Illini grad. I thought it was a low blow from a guy that I really respect and love, but that love was tarnished based on that statement. I just think those types of things need to be kept under the rug, because I'm sure Underwood probably had some choice words for Ed Cooley as well. But you don't hear Brad going to the media about it. All those coaches have they have stuff that they could say all the time, and it was a bad mistake from Ed Cooley. It tarnished the way that I view him a little bit. I did not like it at all. I tried to stay as quiet as I could about it because I've got to go on TV and call games and whatnot. But on this platform, I'm telling you how I truly feel. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was uncalled for. And Ed wishes he's coached at a program as good as Illinois. And I'm going to leave it at that. No, they're not teams that are done. It's too early. It's not college football. Let's see. Curtis, I did see that. Now, who does that? And I'm going to remind you, Illini fans, y'all gave Coleman Hawkins freaking fits for years. Booed him. These sounds that were made, because I had season tickets. I heard for myself. I was like, wow, this is BS. No player could play under that. And yet he did. He graduated from the school and he's rocking an Illinois Letterman's jacket while he's playing at Kansas State. He came to support the Illini play after the way that he was treated by the fan base in Illinois. That says a lot about Coleman Hawkins. And I'm going to leave it there. Illini fans, get mad all you want to. The way that he was treated and the class that he's shown, kudos to Coleman Hawkins. Love you, brother. Black, I'm trying to help him. This is not college football, but F your mother likes to stir the pot anyway. That's just what he does. That's what he does. This Kenneth Leaf wonders, with the Big Ten expansion, will it hurt some Big Ten teams from getting to the tournament? How many teams will the Big Ten get, in your opinion? If the Big Ten doesn't get 9 or 10, I'll be surprised. Will it hurt certain teams? It could. But they're going to have to battle it out. That's why this season is going to be incredible, because 3 teams don't go to the Big Ten Conference tournament. So it's going to be an incredible season. I can't wait. Let's see. Oh, come on now. Fly, Illini, fly. You don't question the Illini fan base showing up, do you? I mean, you can question whether the team is ready to play, but you can never question the Illini fan base. It's one of the best in the country. They show up all the time. Come on now, you know better than that. Oregon is tough and rough, Black. You're exactly right. Um, let's see. Kevin McDuffie, I think that's part of it. I also think that there are some he's got some mental stuff going on. You know, he's had probably what do you have, 4 or 5 concussions while he was at Illinois. So I think his noggin has been rocked a few times where I think it's affected his behavior. So there could be some discipline issues there, maybe not coachable, but I also think that he's had some head injuries that might, and I pray that this is not the case, but might have some CTE like effects on his behavior. Marsman says Trey White and Ben need to step up on the boards. Well, Trey White, yeah, I've been surprised by Trey. I thought he'd be a little bit more effective. Maybe he's finding his way. We're just into December, so we got plenty of time. The Atlanta have plenty of time to figure it out. But Trey, I thought would be better at this juncture, but we'll see. And I definitely think Ben could step up on the glass. Let's see. Tyson says, if you're Izzo, do you keep Holman in the starting lineup? Yes. Yes. I almost would bring Frankie Fiddler off the bench. Frankie is still early, but I don't know if he's quite ready for prime time yet. I've seen some things in him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I need to see a little bit more from him. And it's not only his scoring, it's his body language and his commitment to engage when it's very physical, when it's really important stretches of the game. I've seen a little reluctance to engage. So I need to see a larger sample size. You might have a point there. Dylan Harper, first freshman in the last 20 years to have back-to-back 35-plus point games. He might be the best player in the conference. He's that dude. He is really tough. Marsman is talking about Amari Hansberry and Sincere Harris being on that West Virginia team that won that tournament, won the Battle for Atlantis. 3 overtime games they won, and they're having a significant role. So it's good. It's good to see them have success. Jeremiah Fears is balling at Oklahoma. He's suddenly on the NBA pre-draft list. I don't know if he was before, but he is now. He is woo. He's balling. Let me see. Let me get somebody else. Brooks Barnheiser 3 should have counted against Butler. The refs stole a win from Northwestern. Yeah, that was a tough finish for Northwestern. I agree. That could have gone either way. Let's see. Yep, awesome game. Talking about the Ohio State game. Awesome game. Jason Hayden, I don't know if I've seen you on here. If it's first time, welcome. Illinois gelled and defined roles faster than I thought. Going to be very good. I agree. They, need to figure out how to get Trey White a little bit more involved. But that's about it. Ben Humrickhouse is hitting the threes. averaging 3.5 rebounds a game. Okay, it could be better. Will Riley scoring. KJ is doing his thing at the point. Kylan Boswell looks like he's going to be a big game James type. Yeah, they're coming together really well. It's fun to see. Yes, Coleman is now and forever in the line. Totally agree. I've been a fan of Coleman since his sophomore year. Still a fan. Yes. Russell Farley. Fans treated Coleman unfairly. Always one of my favorites. Fan social media gets down on players and they get coaches fired. Good coaches. That's true. All right. Well, it looks like I got to everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This has been great. Again, if you want to be part of Tribe in the newsletter, go to Bardo's Tribe and you'll get a free copy of the Guide to the New Big Ten, but you'll also be a part of the newsletter, or text me 312-847-2739 to be in the text chain. My voice is leaving me. This week is a busy one. Northwestern at Iowa tomorrow, Peacock. Michigan State at Minnesota, Big Ten Network, Wednesday. Saturday, Rutgers at Ohio State, Fox Sports 1. That's going to be a good one. And then I think Sunday I'm in studio with John Beeline. So it's a busy week. I hope to see you guys. Shoot me a text if you're on the text chain. Shoot me an email if you're on the newsletter. Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much. You guys have a great week. Big Ten Basketball Conference play is here, y'all. I can't wait. Until next time, holla, y'all.